someone applies, of course they're on best behavior. You know, oh, it's a first date. You're gonna wear your nice outfit and you're nice and you're not a jerk. Totally get it. Now, small things like anything like, hey, Susan, hey, can you go put that chop bucket up there for me? Some spill. Can you just grab something for me real quick? I have to go over here. Like, just totally nonchalant, right? I'm not being like rude. I'm not like hazing them, yet. Kidding. But I mean, to just, hey, can you take a photo for me real quick of this thing? Can you just anything and see how they respond? I mean, John, I'm sure you have some these small tasks that you're trying to look for bigger insights. What I'm looking for here is an insight. Just like if you do with an athlete before you have them clean, you might have them do some hip extension drills or a small broad jump, right? You're looking for insights in their ability to go, hey, you're not ready for this yet, whatever, right? So same thing here. I'm looking for insights in their behavior.
I think the other thing that Tim's touching on is I've learned now in the 10 years of being in this business, what I want is work ethic. And I've learned that I don't care where the education level of the coach is. The things that I value is work ethic and their values. And what do they stand for? Because everything else can be kind of taught. If they're a smart person, they'll catch on. But if they're not a hard worker and it comes to Friday Night Lights month, they're going to be constantly complaining. And during staff meetings, that becomes a distraction. So to me, my interns, my team, what I value is, I always call it the 3 Ps: professionalism, performance, and passion. And early on, when they're moving into the internship program, I'm evaluating, do they have these things? And we just brought on a new team member, and I hired him. He has not done his level 1 yet, but he is one of the hardest working people I know, and he has a crazy passion for what we do. And he's gonna pick up the performance side because he's just too hard of a worker and he's too passionate to not succeed. So that's kind of what we look for is first and foremost, can they get up and grind? Our Granite Games is a great test. We actually hired one of our managers the 2 days before it, and we threw him in the Granite Games workload, and we put in like 100 hours that week, and I was like, okay, if you survive this, you're good to go. You'll survive. And so it's that ability to get things done when it's needed.
Yeah, has everyone here read Good to Great or any Jim Collins stuff? So, what about you, the rest of you guys? Have not. Really good read. One of the biggest takeaways from there for me was, first who, then what, right? And he has a TED talk on it. First who, then what. I'm sure someone can probably Google it pretty fast and find it. But basically his premise is you build the team, you get the right people on the team, and then, hopefully what you do aligns with the passions and core values of the team. But if you try and go, this guy's a great coach, you try and find what he's doing first, but he's kind of hard to work with, or she's a little bit of a prima donna, you're going to run up into friction, especially because your business may change. The roadmap may change. I mean, gosh, all of our gyms look different than 2008, right? I think very different. So if you get the right people on the bus for that, and those things that John's saying, big grind, 100 some hours, you got a soldier there. You got someone who's like in it with you. And things change, they're going to be like tough and fine.
I don't know if for me, and I could be different from these two. It's the sports background for us. It's like, I don't want to work with anybody that doesn't have that work ethic. Like, I don't care how talented of an athlete, of a coach, a person you are. If you're not willing to grind first and go through this, I just have a hard time surrounding myself with you. So the thing that I don't like being surrounded by is lazy people. So I'd rather make sure that they know how to work. And I'm not going to force them to do crazy things, but I'm just watching them. Like, when we all clean up at the end of the night, are they running to grab a mop bucket, or are they standing there? Like, do they take initiative to get the thing going? It's not rocket science to clean the gym. It's not rocket science to know some boxes have to get put away. If they're not, jumping out of their chair to help, there, to me, there's a red flag initially, and it doesn't. You can't teach work ethic. Like, it is something that is you develop early on as either a child or as a youth. You're a hard worker or you're not. And you know what? You can be successful if you're not a hard worker. You can be successful if you're not a hard worker, but the chances are you're probably a really, really good idea person, and you're surrounded with people that can get it done. For us, I want my team to be doers. Like, they can achieve things, and they're ready to tackle the next task. So that's just our team, what we look for initially. Chris, what about you?
Yeah, it's changed significantly over the years. And, when we started in 2008, and when I first started hiring, a lot of it was just applying what I had read and theory-based. And like many of you, you don't really know what you're doing until you've gone through it and gotten some reps at it. And hiring is one of the most difficult things that we've done in the business and continue to do, because there's so many of those components that Tim and John mentioned in terms of credentials or qualifications, like what skills you have, and then does that mesh with the team or the personality of the leader. And what we've found, as we got older or more mature as a business, it actually became more difficult to hire someone newer into the field, meaning that if I have 7 years of experience on the gym floor, and then you hire and put a coach that is fresh or brand new, you've actually drastically changed the quality of the class or the program if you're coaching the majority of the classes. And what we've found is that we're actually trying to look for people with a lot of credentials and qualifications. And that may mean that we have to step outside our comfort zone of hiring only, say, a CrossFit coach. But we'll look to build them up with the rest of the things that we're looking for. So, John, you mentioned core values and sweat equity and really being a hard worker. Those things we would have to filter out during the hiring process. Oh, and by the way, they would still need all of those credentials. So what I love about what this conversation talks about is you have to identify what your standards are and what your core values are for hiring someone. And that's where you start. No one gets through that gate as far as, if you want to offer a position, but you require 2 years of experience, then that's your standard. And you continue to look and find that person until, you do. Otherwise, you're settling, and you drastically change the timeline of how long it's going to take someone to get mature and start being a productive member of your team. So I love this conversation. As you guys know, this is kind of my background in studying management, and working away from my gym 4 hours away. I've had to be very diligent about picking and selecting my team. So it's a big topic. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, but through Factory Forged, we've got a great template and outline, in our university program.
Chris, one of the questions we got in the forum, and John, if you have something else to add on that, I don't want to cut you off.
Nope, go ahead.
I'll say one of the questions.
I was just gonna let me hop in and add this. One of the things that Chris uses for Gainesville, and we're using it up at Fast Factory, is we've actually built out on the Factory Forge members platform. Our gyms have a coaches development course, and Chris, showed the link to the professional coaches development program. We actually use our members platform, and it's something that's in development for our VIP clients right now, that when they start to run their internship program or whatever they label it as, they're going to be able to use this to take their future coaches through the paces. And it has tests on their quizzes, education. They have the ability to submit video feedback of them coaching an athlete, and it's a really, really cool tool that allows us to offer a really, really true, say, classroom or class type experience to develop coaches. Obviously, the level 1 is critical. Level 2 is also good, but they have to have that application-based ability to help their clients. Go ahead, Tim. Sorry for cutting you off as well.
No, all good. I mean, this is very, I want to be able to go down the rabbit hole with you guys and get into the good stuff with this Q&A today. What you guys want to do? Website question or like a member kind of tough love question? Which one? I have a few lined up, and then obviously you guys will be typing some out in the forum. What do you guys want to answer?
I can. Are you asking these guys, or you asking the three of us? Do we want to go website?
You guys, them? Yeah. If you guys have I think I've had a good question on a website function. Yeah, I know we've kind of gone over some, and then one kind of like member relationship, like how much tough love is too much.
Yep. Yeah, we can tackle. Why don't we tackle them both? We can talk
Okay.
website, and
So
then
here's the website. Let me type it up in the forum. It says, what should our website do for us? What should be on the homepage, key pages we have, some ideas, what are the ways to then convert those into stuff. So I know we've gone over this on the marketing side. I know we'll be doing a bunch of it at workshop, but it came up in the forum. I thought it was a pretty good one.
Speaking of websites, we just built a website yesterday. Over the course of a couple of days, we built the brand new Granite Game site, and this question, what should the website do, was constantly in the mind of us. What is this site here for? So we built a brand new qualifier site that is different from the Granite Games, and this applies to our businesses for affiliates as well. But the theory is the site was used in the first stage to get them all the information, a prospect, or hopefully a future competitor, all the information they need to know about the platform, the program, how things are going to work, and then it basically takes them down a funnel. If you follow the one-page site, it funnels them all the way down to eventually at the very bottom of the site registering. And so a little bit different now if we switch it to affiliate side, our website functionality is meant to develop trust. These people are prospects. The ultimate goal is to provide and showcase our knowledge. So to showcase, for an example, Factory Forge, our blog is meant to showcase, Tim's skills, my skills, Chris's skills, Jen's skills, Jess's skills, Dominic's skills, the entire team, and what Factory Forge as a company can do. And what we do through that is we build trust. This is the same thing that happens on your affiliate blog. So whether you're talking about fat loss, how to gain muscle, how to set a positive mindset, your blog is really your ability to develop and publish content. So back in the day, before they had all these really pretty sites, a blog was just, the sites were a blog. And that hasn't changed. And what happened is everybody got excited about the graphics, but we got to remember the functionality. The site is functioning as a blog, and to develop trust with not your clients, but prospects. From there, the ultimate goal is to then use the funnel that creates a connection. We capture their contact information, and then we move that conversation off the website and then into direct email. At that time, we eventually get them to become a buyer at maybe a very small price point, and then eventually they take on one of our beginner programs, and then they become a long-time customer. So once they're a customer, if you think of your website's not really meant to service your current clients, especially if we're an in-house service, a service that they travel to our facility and we deal with them directly. We service them face-to-face. If they're coming to our gym, don't use your website to service your clients. Service them in person with goals meetings, nutritional consultation, your classroom, off-the-floor coaching. That's how we service our clients. We don't service them through the website. Now, you may put your programming up there, and they may go there to look at it, but really that's not a service point. It's kind of a functioning of the business. We may do athlete features, but again, those athlete features, they may make our athlete that we're featuring feel good about themselves, but really what we're doing is we're showcasing to the prospects what are the type of people that come to our business. That's why we do athlete features. So moral of the story is, if you're running an affiliate, your website is used to build trust with prospects and paint the picture of how your business operates, and then showcase your knowledge. So if they are, once they become a client, we service them inside our walls and then through email. So that is what I can add to how we use our website without digging way too far down the rabbit hole of marketing and sales. So do you guys want to add anything to that?
I'll jump in here. yeah, those parts, they're sometimes not the most fun things to do in your business, right? You want to be able to be on the floor and coach and do that, but we've got to be focusing on getting them to that point, giving them value of that. So when they get to that point where they're in there, they've read the site, they feel like they know you and they get you and they know what your gym's about. The blog is there. A big function of that. Just constantly staying out in front of them, helping keep their attention with that stuff. So everyone's familiar with Funnel 2.0? Everyone here is following along. I know Penny's following along. Let's see if everyone else is in with me here. Good. Yeah. So what's the function of the blog and the website on Funnel 2.0? John's laid it out really clear for everyone, right? Right. That helps move everyone along the pipeline. Oh, man, look at this. There you go, John. You want to talk about this for a minute? This is like some of the most next level stuff I've seen in a minute. I usually I'm not blown away very much, and this was this is pretty good.
Yeah. So everything we do in our business with a prospect is like a staircase, and failure to deliver the next step is basically taking them to a dead end, and then now they don't know where to turn. So every time we write a blog, we're doing two things. We're cross-referencing another blog to keep them on our site longer, which improves our SEO. But the other side is we're always giving them like what is next. So if we write a blog and at the end of the workshop, this is completely filled out for the affiliates, we'll write a blog and let's say it's fat loss. Maybe the blog might be, and this is where Tim steps in. Tim would write a blog that says the 10 reasons why you're not having fat loss. Anybody that reads that blog, they're obviously interested in fat loss and fitness. We are going to create the next step in that funnel that where they can go is going to be a download of a fat loss guide, a nutrition guide, something that basically exchanges that email for the guide. And then from there, we can start to target market them on and move them down the funnel. So we for those of you guys that aren't blogging, you're missing the first step into developing trust with your, hopefully future clients, and taking somebody from a cold prospect to a warm prospect to eventually a hot prospect. So if you look up here, if they're just reading the blog, they're a cold prospect. As they move to this stage, they're now what we would call a medium prospect. And when they get down here, they're a hot prospect. And the ultimate goal is cold goes to warm, warm goes to hot, hot goes to low-level client. From there, we take them to a high-level client, and then finally, they're long-term clients with our Profit Maximizer. And then through this, we're constantly remarketing to them other activities and cross-marketing. So this is how we boost our sales and raise average client value. We actually just did this with a client. It raised his average client value by $50. So those of you that have average client value of $150, what would it look like if your average client value was $200? For those of you that don't know what average client value is, take what you bring in a month, divide it by how many clients you have. So if you had every client now worth $50 more, that's a lot of extra money in revenue. And chances are it's not much more work. You're already doing everything. It's just putting the pieces together. So this is the Funnel 2.0 that we're going to be showing, teaching, creating, and then helping you guys implement in your business at the workshop. But going back to website, it all begins with blogging and your website. It all starts here to get people in your door. So I love marketing. I could geek out on it. I know not all of you guys love it as much as I do. That's okay. My job is to teach you guys how to do it in a basic manner that makes it easy for you guys to be successful. So, but that is the Funnel 2.0. Tim, I'll turn it back over to you.
I would say that,
or Chris.
John, I would add, coming from a background that is not one, very interested in marketing and not great at it. Some of you might be out there saying, I don't really know what to do when it comes to writing a blog, or I can't write well. What John laid out is really a system. And if you follow the steps for creating blog content, it's really no different than what you guys are doing on the floor. Meaning if you're very comfortable in front of, say, 10, 15 people, and you can teach the clean and jerk and the snatch, you can write a blog. And it's really just the perception of taking that on the floor coaching concept and then pull it off the floor and teach someone how to do something usable and functional through writing a blog. And he gave you a couple of good ideas, and I would say that I kind of freak out when I see, I got to write a blog or I have to do this 5 times a week. It was really just changing that mindset for me from, oh, I'm just coaching, off the floor now, and I have to influence people through my writing versus in a class setting. So I expanded my reach to now hundreds of people in my community versus just the 15 I serviced during that class. So for those of you who have that kind of mind block like I did, try reframing it in your mind as off the floor coaching, and you're going to find that you have the ability to impact a lot of new leads and service your clients better.
The other thing too is if you guys struggle, if you struggle with blogging, go down to, I believe it's part 6. We put workshop slides in there, and then the blog content agenda. It's a great little tool to just help you understand, the flow of, I write this blog, I'm going to target it towards this lead magnet, and this lead magnet is set up to sell them on this point, and then it tracks what the header is. And it's a really basic tool, but it really lays things out in a blueprint kind of way that keeps you understanding, are you constantly writing about fat loss? Well, if you do, chances are your entire business is going to be based off fat loss. All your clients are going to be interested in fat loss. So it helps you kind of spread out and tack different people in the market for different reasons. Tim, since you're kind of in charge, you keep picking the questions that we keep moving forward on.
You got it, man. Susan has a little question. Seems like it might be related. What's your question on ClickFunnels? And then Jen, and while it's you kind of put that stuff out there, yeah, Chris is right. Google, there's so much out there. I mean, don't be intimidated by this stuff. There's, we're doing a lot of work to help you guys chunk it down. So other companies. So I taught my parents who are 65 how to do this stuff for their website, and they're not. My dad, I think, still has a BlackBerry. Susan's question: what level of ClickFunnels did you purchase? There's personal, professional.
I don't remember. I have them for we use factory forged ClickFunnels, and then we have it for the gyms as well. And Chris has it. I honestly, we bought it so long ago, I don't even remember. We do use ClickFunnels, and we will be showing you guys how we use ClickFunnels at the workshop. But to answer that question, what level did we get? I would always just start with the basic. Don't overinvest yourself. And then once you know how to use it and you need more access, then if you want to upgrade, go for it. So for us, I think we went basic, and then I think for maybe Factory Forge, we're at the higher level just because of the volume.
Awesome. Okay, so next question was from the forum, and thank you guys so much for being active in there. It helps us a ton to make sure the right things are coming out for you guys. So those of you that were posting, this is a lot of it's from that thread in the Friday Night Lights forum. It says, we're struggling how much tough love we should be dishing out to our members. We do goal setting right away, and when someone joins, they come out with, I want to get jacked, I want to lose 20 pounds, stuff like that. They tell them come a minimum 3 times a week, you're getting results, but then the folks only come once a week. They say they're happy. They're not unhappy members, they leave good reviews, but their goals are not aligning with their actions. So what type of tools do you guys use to help member compliance? Because we know the more compliant a member is, the longer they're going to stay. The more they trust your word and do your actions, the longer they're going to stay. So what are you guys doing to help these people see the differences in there without being a dick about it? You know.
I can hop in,
Who wants?
Tim. Um, you nailed it on the head as far as aligning their interests and goals with the appropriate program. So it's one thing to know what you want, but if you're unwilling to take the necessary action steps, um, you'll never achieve that. So a lot of it is providing the opportunity, but being a coach. You know, a coach is not an instructor, meaning you can't just ramble off a coaching cue, but not hold the athlete accountable to the movement or the position. So it's important that you do the same off the floor and with lifestyle. And I think this starts to enter more of the lifestyle coaching. And, you know, it's a whole nother level or layer of coaching. I think some of you probably feel like you're a therapist for people, you know, and our job is encompassing of so many things that relate to life and fitness, but also health. And it's understanding what you guys are comfortable with teaching and also where your skill sets are. But to answer this specific question, regards to the lifestyle part, this is why we do goals meetings. This is an early start to help someone understand the journey. For us, the journey means that they're applying themselves as a student of fitness, that they have to ingrain themselves in the lifestyle. That means showing up a certain number of times a week. That means dedicating themselves to nutrition, to sleep. And if they're truly committed to the lifestyle, then they do those things. And our job is to point them in the direction of that and to help them understand that journey, but also to hold them accountable in the form of that goals meeting. So we've set up the standard where we're going to review this once in person with them for a half-hour session early on in their membership. So anywhere from the second or third week of when they start, and that's our kind of getting off to a great start in the membership. We don't drill them or follow them around and say, hey, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. We're dealing with grown-ups here. So we can point them in the right direction, and that's my job. However, I can offer reminders through blogs, through on-the-floor coaching, and reinforcing those things, but I'm not chasing these people around. I know if they're receptive and they're willing, they'll ask questions and be engaged in the content material, and that's when I know they've got some buy-in. So that's kind of how we reference it. We give them a very clear expectation up front in the form of a goals meeting, and then we create the opportunity to grow and learn in our program. Whether they take it, you know, that's on them. I'm constantly looking for those people that step up because that inspires me to invest more in them as well. So, Tim, I see you smiling. I know you're probably gonna hop in here.
Chris, do you ever look? Chris, do you guys ever dig into like the reasons why they're not? I mean, that because this I almost am reading it now is like they told them to come 3 times a week, that there was no like mutual buy-in potentially. That is that can that person even make what other external hurdles can that person not make it 3 times a week? So now they're not set up for it's like the coach being like, and I'm not saying this person does that, I don't know, but hey, this is the thing going right to a solution versus actually understanding the process that person needs to do this.
We have
Do you guys have
a
any?
tool called a time blocking tool that we're constantly trying to help people evaluate, you know, what does their schedule look like, and does their schedule align or set them up to even fulfill their priorities? And the time blocking tool that we use and have access to at the workshop, you guys will learn more about time blocking. But essentially, it's a way to prioritize your schedule that encompasses your goals. And that's part of our goals meeting as well. It's just ensuring that people sync up their lifestyle according to how they live it. You know, are you budgeting time for work, family, personal time, gym time? I think that's really a starting place before you actually dive into you know, the layers of how to do those things. That's a great point, Tim.
I posted this article, this shot, and this is from Elite EFT, and I posted a link down below. We actually just shared this with our staff page and went through the article. And two things are happening. Marketing is unrealistic, and I'll give a shout out. He's not on here, but Paul Nobles with Eat to Perform. I love what he does because he doesn't over market or over promise. He tells it as it is, and it's great because his clients then never go away disappointed. So what happens is he actually has a ton of raving fans. The problem is a lot of marketing, like if you look at Oxygen, the magazine, or Men's Fitness, it's so over the top that it's unrealistic. They're showing not even the 1 percentile, they're showing the 0.01 percentile. And they're setting unrealistic expectations. So one of the things that we do, and we do this both with affiliate owners, you guys out there, and we also do it with others, our clients. I'll sit down with them and I'll say, what is your goal? And then as soon as they tell me what their goal is, I'm like, why is that your goal? Like, let's truly dig down. Why is this your goal? Like, why is it meaningful to you that you reach this? And then I align that with, is this actually a goal? Because they might just say, well, I want to lose fat. And I'm like, well, that's not really a goal. Let's dig a little bit deeper. What does that look like? From there, once they have their goal set, we create an action plan, right? So we understand why it's important to them. Then we look at what or where they want to get to. And then I'll lay it out very clearly, like, here's the workload it's going to take to achieve this goal. And then from there, it's dependent on their timeline. Is this a 30-day goal? Is this a 1-year goal? Because that changes the workload. And Tim talked about this earlier. They might be setting a goal that requires them to train 7 days a week or 5 days a week. And then the other 2 days are a recovery or active recovery, yoga. They have to eat they have to dramatically change their diet. And a lot of the goal might just be unrealistic. And it actually sets them up for failure, when the better goal would be to take 50% of that and attack that for the first 30 days. And then the next 30 days, attack the last 50%. So I wouldn't call it tough love. I would call it, let's set goals and set realistic expectations. It's kind of like if you guys watch HGTV, and this is hilarious that I'll even admit that I watch this, but who doesn't love HGTV, first off? Second of all, it's when they do the renovation show with the brothers. They'll take them in these great homes, and they're like, oh, yeah, I want all this. This is my house that I want. And they're like, cool, it's $3 million. And they're like, well, my budget's only 200 grand. Okay, well, if that's your budget, here's what we're actually able to work with, and here's the work it's going to take to get the house the way you want it. Same kind of thing you're doing in goals meeting is you got to align what their goal is, and then I don't want to say knock them down a step, but instead show them what the reality of that goal is. Like, here's what it's going to take. If you want to go to the games, it's probably going to take 5 to 6 years of complete dedication, and on top of that, you have to have the right genetics, or the previous training history is got to be in line. And so don't think of it as knocking them down, but rather just understanding the workload it takes to reach that goal.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, John, that's you put it super well there. That in these roles, do you view yourself now as a professional, someone whose opinion? They're coming to you as not. I don't mean this as a person. We're all cool as people, but they're coming to you as not an equal in the fitness realm. Hopefully, I hope you view yourself that you know things that someone coming in 2 weeks into this probably doesn't know, because you put in the time, you're doing the work, you've had all the success stories to do this, that when they come to you, I'm trying to give as professional advice, just like the Property Brothers analogy. They're not like, yeah, let's try and do that. That'd be super fun to try and do this. Like, they're like, no. You came to me because you never sold a home before. I'm worth, I've even Wikipedia'd these guys and looked them up. I'm like, how much are they making? It blows my mind that not only do they have they're selling the homes, but now they're monetizing the TV show where they sell the homes on it, which also helps them get new leads. Like, I'm fascinated by them. Like, I think it's amazing, but they're not coming into it as equals with the potential home buyer. They're the expert. So in that, you've got to Make sure, do they view you as the expert in your own freaking business? I hope so. You know, I don't think when they come to you, John, they're like, I want to go to the games, and you're like, that'd be super sweet. I want to go to the games.
Yeah, it's funny when we deal with our elite athletes, or our gym's top athletes, I'll call them that. We don't even set a goal of going to the games. It's first, let's get in the top 1,000 in the region. Then let's get in the top 500. Now let's get in the top 250. Now it's top 100. Then at the time it was make it to regionals, and now it's let's get to regionals. Once we get there, now the next step is, okay, now let's get in the top 10. Now let's get games level. Same thing when we played hockey. Each year my goal was not to play in the NHL. It was to be better than I was last year and take a step forward. And over the 25 years of playing hockey, that allowed me to play at a professional level. But when I was 6 years old, if I would have just said, I want to be a professional hockey player, it doesn't work that way. It's a staircase. And if we just keep moving forward, we'll be where nobody else is, if we can stay the course. So take that, wrap that up into goals, meetings, have sit downs, and be positive. The other side is get them to start saying I can, not I can't. Like, I can do that, but here's the work I have to do for it. I can do this. I can get a pull-up someday. Not I can't. I'm currently not able to, but I soon will be able to. So all about positive self-talk. Next question.
All right, next one, again, from the Friday Night Lights group. And Chris, yeah, I don't think you need to lose 12 pounds. I think you're good. It says, what do you do for continuing education for your coaches? Books, seminars, podcasts. What things are you personally doing for personal development ourselves? I think maybe talking to us. And then what are we doing, reading, watching, listening to better, as leaders, our business, our team, our members? So maybe first, let's chunk it down into continuing ed. Once someone is a coach, what's expected of them? What do they not? I mean, like, one of my biggest fears is that I hear a coach on the floor only able to use, well, at my L1 4 years ago is their reference point. Nothing wrong with that, but we should have a full tool belt in that, right? I don't want to take this as, I don't think it's a worthwhile thing. It's absolutely worthwhile and mandatory in my business, but there's a lot more to it. And I think anyone will tell you that. So continuing ed. Let's go, boys.
For Fast Factory, if you're a full-time on-the-floor coach, you have to have your level 3 by year 3, I believe. So to get through our internship, you have to have your level 1. To be hired by us, you have 8 months to have your level 2, or 9 months. So in the first 9 months of working as a full-time coach, you're then sent off to do your level 2. Once that's completed, you get 14-month timeline to get your level 3. At the same time, you have to have a specialty cert done every year. So our coaches are fairly decorated, which at the end of the day, to me, still means nothing, because now I'm looking at, okay, you've learned it, but can we apply it? Can we put this on the floor? Can we help the coaches? Can we help our athletes reach their goals in a safe manner? So yes, they got the certifications, they have the education. Can they apply it? So from there, we look at things like OPEX. I know Tim's done a lot of stuff there. I myself have gone down that road. I'm a big fan of everything they're producing. We try to look outside of just straight up CrossFit. Even though we're big fans of CrossFit, we also want to look at other subject matter experts, whether it's gymnastics, kettlebells, running. And the other side that I think goes underdeveloped from a coaching side is nutrition and lifestyle. Because, think of this as, if your coaches coach 14 hours, the other 26 hours is all lifestyle and habit coaching. So I think they need to be just as skilled in lifestyle, nutrition, and healthy living as they do as a fitness coach. So to me, that's how you start to put all the pieces together. Now, if they're moving into a managerial role, or they're moving into maybe marketing and sales, now that training gets specific. For myself, a lot of my development happens with talking to guys like Tim and Chris and Jen and Dominic and Jess, who are all subject matter experts in their own field, and that I look at what they're studying and their stuff's rubbing off on me, and then I have what I bring to the table, which is marketing and sales and my own subject that I study heavily. So from there, I would say I spend most of my time looking at either fitness development or marketing, sales, and understanding the buying process and how to build traction, how to build trust with the client. So I guess I touched on how I develop my coaches, how I develop myself. So I can speak. That's for Fast Factory.
Yeah, what I'm seeing, and I like hearing this, and I hope you guys are picking up on the fact that he has a base of what he finds as a qualification to get onto his floor to be a coach. And then really as you develop your team, you may find that your coaches have different interests. And I know for us, it's a great value to have someone that is, say, a gymnastics specialist, and we can really turn to run seminars or workshops in our gym, and can really be that independent leader with that unique skill set. I know that one of our coaches, has 15 years of gymnastics history, and did gymnastics all the way into the point of like 15 years old. And, that's a huge value to bring to the table for someone developing core strength or a handstand or being able to do a muscle up, and having those things ingrained in her, and she can verbalize them with coaching cues that are outside of, say, the CrossFit world. Same thing from bringing a coach in who might have experience in corrective exercise. Now I can take my business in a direction of, say, personal training or dealing more with rehabilitation of clients. So understanding the base knowledge of what you want on your floor, I can't speak highly enough of just having a standard. If that's CrossFit level, 2 or 3 or 4, that satisfies what you will kind of determine as your quality. And then encouraging your team to be specialists in key areas, I think, spreads the knowledge or the wealth around your team, versus having everybody follow one track. There's diversity on your coaching team, which is big when it makes you a unique business. What else we got?
Yeah.
Tim, what about you? Yeah, let's hear what you guys do at
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have a long, process. Like both of you guys, we've worked on coaching development together for a few years now. So just to get on the floor is a big deal. But then, shutting down always what's the vision of where the gym's going, and helping funnel people into these areas, and making opportunities for them to go after that. I'm really big on trying to incentivize people, not necessarily monetarily, but even just as far as spotlighting them through their knowledge, that if once you can do these things, now you can run specialty programs or a one-off specialty class to showcase their additional knowledge. But the trick is you have to have this additional knowledge to go there. So I'm constantly trying to find new areas in the gym, and they get smaller. It's not just running, but a specific type of running. I need to do this for someone. I'm looking for a coach that can do that, and I'm looking for a coach that can now not just do nutrition, but what coach is really great at helping clients understand the macronutrient side of nutrition versus paleo, and trying to constantly fill those in for continuing ed is really big for us. We, at our monthly coaches meetings, our big kind of all hands on deck thing, we're always bringing that stuff up and trying to, find out who's going to be the next person to move forward, who hasn't done anything in a while. So that's big. It does come with, again, additional, price to it also for them. They get paid extra for different things, and lots of different ways to monetize that, of course. But it really starts with, with you at the top, knowing what the area of your gym is going, I guess, and knowing how to help curb them in there. Like John knows that coaching is super important, and that's what I take away by someone saying level 3 is valuable. I can infer then at his facility, and I saw it firsthand when I was out there a month ago, coaching is really important. Great. Like again, those should line up for you, right? Is it? Are you all big on the lifestyle? Like we said, someone was big on, there are people kind of being part-time therapist type feel. Okay, I would definitely make sure additional coaching then falls in line with lifestyle coaching courses and personal touch things like that. So whatever that is, whatever you want that to be is fine. It just has to kind of line up as they go on. They need to get better at it.
Yeah, to add to this, how many of you guys, and I know today is a smaller group, but how many of you guys would actually like to see us tackle? So the workshop right now we're doing is really the funnel. It's marketing, sales, and then service. And so to Jen, to answer your question, yes, we'll be talking about goals meetings. Yes, we'll be spending all of Sunday how to tackle and service your clients to get them to become lifelong clients, and most importantly, how do we ensure that they reach their goals? My question for the group, though, is the next workshop we're tentatively slating to tackle team development, and basically the other side of the business. How many of you guys would like to see us put a workshop together where it is, I don't want to say it's the next level of your business, but really leadership, team development, coaches development, that really is the next level. Once you have your marketing, your sales, and your service down, now all your classes are full, and you have to hire people. I know us three, we've made tons of mistakes hiring, and we've seen a lot of success hiring too. There's a lot that gets into just simply how to hire somebody. I remember sitting down and doing my first interview, and I was scratching my head okay, what do I want to get out of this conversation? How do I evaluate whether or not they're even a good prospect for our company? So if there's enough interest, I believe it's our intentions to circle back around, and in a few months we'll put together a team development leadership style workshop. So, and Chris, I know that's the thing that you love the most is team development. So let's do this.
There's a pretty good response in there. John, you want to go ahead?
You go ahead, and then we can finish up here. We'll probably take, let's take 2 questions from the chat forum, but Tim, go ahead and finish up what you're going to say.
Oh, sorry, I was going to go to the chat forums. Sounded like you were going to go somewhere.
No. Let's go to the chat forum.
Okay, let's see. Okay, let me pull up one more. Unless someone wants to type one out here, as I pull up another one. Facebook Analytics, we're going to be hitting that at workshop, right? Do we need to go into that? That was another question from Brandy.
That'll actually get covered on.
We're going to hit that at workshop, right? Do we need to go on that?
Yeah, that's going to be covered Friday for the private webinar. For the workshop attendees, is we'll actually be setting up their Facebook Analytics, getting their pixels and audiences created, and getting it embedded in their website. So that's going to be a very technician-based webinar where we're implementing. So that'll be all covered on Friday.
Okay, let's see. Jen wants to know about marketing and sales and service. Let's see. Okay, here's one more. How long? I'll type it up to read it. How long do you expect before a coach goes from ITP to full-time coach?
Well, I've seen.
So from the start of that process, I see a lot of variance in there. So you want to take it?
Yep. Yes, the fastest I've seen is, and Tim and Chris, I think I introduced you to her when you guys were at the facility, was Liz. Was the fastest we've ever seen somebody go through her internship. So she cranked out the initial course in 3 months, which you can't speed that part up. And then the next 2 parts she got through each stage in a month. I've seen people that are now going on 2 years of still in our internship program. They haven't been able to pass the tests, and The truth is, just because you're in the internship that long, we don't bend on our standards. Like you have to score a 90% on your final test, and if it's not a 90%, we just don't deviate. So the fastest is roughly 5 months, and from there she's really become a great coach for us. And the longest is they're not done. They're still working on those skills that they need to be on the floor. I mean, they have their level 2 already, and we still don't allow them on the floor. Like we have a set of very clear standards that we have to have from a service side to hold our quality standards and promise to our clients. So for us, 5 months, longest, ongoing. Chris, what about you?
I would say that it's not a very clear answer, but it really depends. The way our program is set up, it's a 3-month program. However, it's set up to help people progress as quickly as they're able to demonstrate those qualities. So you don't necessarily want to hold someone back in this type of business just for the sake of holding them back. And the reason I say that is because time and money are on the line. The more you can get someone who knows what they're doing and how to operate in the manner that you want to run your business, the faster they can be a productive member of your team. So it's not actually advantageous to make a program long in duration. You actually want it as quick as possible. But this is when we start to dive more into the team development layers, where if you hire someone from an outside perspective who already has a lot of these credentials and experiences, you'll likely be able to shorten that timeline of getting someone to be a productive member. What I hear a lot in young businesses is most people have to hire their first person based on energy level. Like they're the most enthusiastic person just willing to help you, right? You're like starving for someone to relieve that few hours each week of a class, and you'll take anyone because you're working 12-hour days, if not longer, and you want the help, you need that help, and that typically comes at a cost. You get the help, sure, and you fill the spot, but did the quality of the class drop? Did the experience for the client change? So as you work yourself out of that, you typically start to hire someone who has some sort of experience, and you learn from that you'll never get the certain quality level or the result you want by hiring someone just on enthusiasm. They have to have a passion or a skill set that's going to align with yours, and eventually, like we discussed earlier, you may only find that person that aligns with that passion in the way that you want to run your company through hiring them. Anyone that is skilled and talented in their field is going to come at a cost. So the question I think that came up, is this an all unpaid experience? You get what you pay for, and that goes for everything. And if you want a free person, you might have a great cheerleader and enthusiastic person, but are they going to uphold the quality standards and over deliver, like you, where you've put in the sweat equity, you've put in the hours of training and paid for your certifications? You can't get around that kind of stuff, guys. So
Yeah,
it's going to vary.
For us, we are now charging for our coaches development program, and then what we'll most likely do is, if they end up hired to even become an assistant coach for us, we'll bonus them back. So we'll give them 50% back. But what I've seen now is too many people like the idea of being called a coach. They like the title that they are a coach. And it becomes a waste of time for the person running it because they're not truly invested. They're not 100% all in. And for us, that's fine, but we're going to make people, like, if you want to go down this path, you're going to pay to take the course because we're putting a lot of time and effort into educating you. And the truth is, when you're done, you're a very good coach. So what we're setting up for our next internship program is when they pass, we're going to give them a % of their payment back, but they have to go all the way through in a certain time frame to get that money back. And if they don't, they lose it. And I don't feel like that's unfair. I know of friends of ours that charge, $1,500 just to take it. And the truth is, it's worth it. Like, it's worth the money if they want to. This could become a career for them. So for them to pay $1,500 plus their level one, you're at a $2,500 investment to get a $40,000 to $50,000 job. I don't know of any other places that you can go out and do that. Like, this is developing careers, not hobbies, and that's the way we need to look at it and treat it.
I remember reading an article the other day. Are you guys familiar with the company Zappos? Well, that company has a really unique philosophy for hiring, and I believe this is the article I was reading, where they'll actually pay $2,000 for someone to leave their internship and onboarding process that feels they can't meet the requirements, or they're no longer interested in fulfilling the job duties. So they'll pay someone to leave their program because they know the cost or the expense of training this person, and to put someone into an inappropriate position that doesn't align with their core values and their vision for their careers. So that speaks pretty volumes to what we're talking about too, is if we take someone that is eager and excited but not interested long term, think of the time that you guys are going to waste, teaching someone. And it goes the same route as if you're the stepping stone for someone to build their own career outside of your organization. I know this is a hot topic in affiliate world, where affiliates will take on a new trainee and teach them a base knowledge, and they go and open up another affiliate down the street. So they've leapfrogged a lot of that trial and error using your facility, and they have the stepping stone to launch their own. Now, this is why there has to be barriers to entry in hiring, because you guys are teaching skills. Like, think about it in terms of college. Like, people go back to get an MBA to acquire skills and knowledge that makes them more marketable in the field. So now they can ask for more money, or they can ask for higher responsibility because they have more skills. They know how to do things that produce results. So this isn't any different than the corporate areas or other businesses that are outside of service industry. It's just we have to start placing a value on what we're teaching people, guys. You guys have an active skill set and experience over the years, and we have to put a premium on that.
Yeah, I would say the other thing is, and you touched on this, when you are a young affiliate, you need help so bad that you're willing to hire anybody. And I know it's easy to say once your business is built, but it is 10 times more expensive to hire the wrong person than to not hire them. Like, you're better off letting somebody go that would have been a good candidate than to ever hire somebody that just fills a void. Like, never hire somebody just to fill a hole in the company. You hire somebody because they have the ability to grow your company. And a lot of times what happens is you become so distraught, you're exhausted, you're like, I'm looking for anybody. It's like being stranded on an island. And anybody looks attracted to you at that point. The truth is, yes, you're all alone, but just wait it out. Like, make sure you find the right person. I have definitely hired the wrong people before. And I tell you what, it's way more awkward having to talk about, this isn't going to work. Because the other part is you feel guilty. Like, I know that when I have to let somebody go, like, I called Chris up and I was like pulling my hair out. I was like, I become their friend. And maybe that's a bad thing, but the type of company I want to run is one where I'm close with my employees. And, I help them throughout their entire life. I feel like their coach, their mentor, and all of a sudden I have to tell them it's not going to work. What happened is, it was my mistake to begin with, because I went in there with the rose-colored glasses and I'm like, this is going to work. I talked myself into hiring them because they could fill a hole, instead of really analyzing, can they grow my company? You start looking at your team as investments, and not in the cold-hearted way of don't take that out of context, like you treat everybody as a number. What I mean is, would you invest in this person? Like, can they take your company to the next level? Or are you just hiring them to fill a void? Is it a 1-for-1? But if it's a 10-for-1 of what they can do for your company and they match, then they're ready to have a sit down with you. We looked at hiring new associates. We interviewed over 12 people from all over the United States that applied. And some of the people were collegiate strength coaches. We took none of them for a second interview. They just didn't match what we were looking for. And we'll when we're ready to hire again, we'll bring it back up. But what we've learned now is we're not going to hire to just fill voids. We're going to hire because these people can take our company to where we want to go next. So that's our side for hiring. Tim, what about you? I know you've had some unique experiences with the hiring process and the development of coaches and all that. You got any last minute advice before we end the call?
Yeah. What do they say? Hire slowly, fire quickly. I mean, part of me, I never really had like a normal job, so I'm someone like on a team like this where everyone's gonna go super hard makes sense. Let's go for it. But some of that stuff, yeah, you said it best. Let's leave it on that note that it's 10 times more expensive to hire the wrong person. Yep. Totally agree. Totally agree. I love more into this stuff in university you're putting together is like I'm reading it and I'm like, oh man, this is like next level stuff, dude.
Thank you. And shout out to Chris. I know I've worked on the university platform now for over 15 months, so it's been his baby. He's done excellent work with it. We couldn't be more excited for when it releases. Same thing with hiring. We don't launch products early until they're ready. It might be slower, but it ensures that you're around come year 5. So we're going to take off. This will do it for our roundtable. For those of you guys that are attending the workshop, just a reminder, you'll see an email come out from me tomorrow about our private webinar. There'll be a passcode that you'll need to use to get in. For those of you guys that are coming to the workshop, we're excited. You guys are going to be blown away by the content. We have 1 spot left. So if you guys are interested in coming, we have 1 spot left for the general access pass. From there, we'll be continuing to do more roundtables like this. So that way we're answering the most pressing questions at the moment. So thank you guys for hopping on. As always, if you like what we do, we ask that you share our Facebook page with other affiliates around and give us a shout out on the affiliate forums that you like what we do. So thank you guys. Tim, Chris, always great stuff.
Brandy had a question about the dates for the next webinar. I wanted to make sure we clarify that for everyone on the call.
It is Friday. It was me typing way too late and my editor up there, Tim, not proofing my stuff. It is Friday. You guys should already have an invitation. It's set up in our meeting platform. So you guys are already set up. It's Friday at 11 a.m. Central Daylight Time. It'll be roughly 2 hours I have blocked out. If you guys have a lot of your homework pre-done, you won't need that full time, but I did block you guys out so you guys can get all your stuff. So when we come to the workshop, you guys are ready to move forward. Yes, and Central Daylight Time, let's get this across. Central Daylight Time is the only time zone that matters. So I'm glad that we got that clear. That does it for the call. Thank you guys. Blast. We'll see you guys next week out here in Minnesota. Take care.